People who have invested in XRP are going to get a big reward for their trust. And I can't wait to talk about those reasons in this show. When we think back to 2021, it's clear that XRP did not have a boom like many other cryptocurrencies did. A big part of this was because it was against the law. However, I'm beginning to think that these legal problems are more of a trap, maybe meant to keep regular people like us from getting involved. Among the most interesting things about XRP is that's why it was made, especially when you think about the digital world we're moving toward. It looks like you've come to the right place to find out about the latest XRP news. One last thing I'd like to ask you before we talk about the great news for today. Please show us some love if you like what we've done. If you click the like button, sign up for our channel, and press the notification bell button, you can join our great group. Now for some good news, we're about to give away a lot of XRP as we're getting closer to having 8,000 members. The process of joining is very easy. There are only 3 steps to follow. Find out as soon as possible more about this. You should not miss this chance. Make sure that the word help coin is in your thoughts and notes. If you want to be entered into the prize drawing, we are all aware that digitalization will become more important in the coming years and that almost everything will change to a tokenized form. When you look at XRP's basic papers, like its white paper, you can see that its main goal is to make it easier to buy and sell things, not just money, in a world where tokenization is quickly spreading. When thinking about how XRP could be built to handle the trade of tokens and money based on assets, it's interesting to think about what could be done. The answer depends on how well it works. It is a lot easier to do things when they are tokenized. But on the other hand, it's possible that XRP will work with Stellar, which could be seen as XRP's less interesting sister, to make moving money and digital assets easier. Let's look at how XRP affects liquidity to better understand why it might change the way money is sent. For instance, the current method needs twice as much money to make a transfer from one bank in Japan to another bank in the United States, from Japan to the United States. For this situation, XRP is very important. It could change the way things are done by making a lot of money available. They make foreign money transfers possible. I'm going to talk about how XRP might affect the foreign exchange market, and how liquid the market is this time. Imagine for a moment that a token like XRP released a lot of liquidity, which made it possible to make deals almost instantly. It's possible that this new idea could make a market work much better. A lot of banking institutions have teamed up with Ripple because of how fast it works. No matter what, it hasn't quite reached the point where it is to use in places like hospitals. Allow me to show you an example to help you understand this. In order for the Bank of Mitsubishi in Tokyo to send 100 million yen to its office in New York and then change it into dollars, they would normally need the same amount of money in both currencies at both sites. This would cause $200 million, 0 cents to be held up. That being said, it would be a huge step forward if this exchange could be linked to a token like XRP. Ripple's possible decision to go public is another interesting development that should be thought about. It still needs to get permission from the SEC to make this choice. It's a big step forward that Ripple won the case where Judge Toro said it wasn't a security. This is a very important change, even though it's not something we talk about very often on the show. I've been buying the XRP for a while now. I have had a hard time with XRP while we have been together. During the last bull market, I was able to get better returns on other assets, but the case made it hard for me to do that, slowed down the growth of XRP. I also think it's interesting that the XRP community sometimes shows such strong emotion that it almost looks like a devotee group. I've been too excited about projects in the past, and XRP was the same way. One big reason I don't like taking risks is the thought that some of my fans may have invested money because of my excitement and then lost it. On the other hand, new technical analysis shows that XRP might be about to experience another rise like the one it had in 2017. It looks like things are set up in a way that is similar to how they were before the 20 rise. His prediction is that XRP will go up in value to $116.00, which is a big jump from where it is now, which is about 60 cents. In the event that this prediction comes true, it could be a huge win for buyers. The movie we're showing today is meant to bring attention to what I see as a big chance with XRP. It may sound like an old story, but there is a strong reason to think that people who have invested in XRP they are going to make a lot of money soon. In this case, the most important thing to think about is XRP's technical structure, which seems to be going in the same direction that led to its huge gain in 2017. In spite of the fact that XRP did not reach any new highs in 2021, this is a good sign for the cryptocurrency, putting together everything for a possible spike like the one that happened in 2017. As someone who owns XRP, I agree with Francis Hunt's optimistic forecasts. I've been looking at how he solves problems for a year now. It's hard to ignore the connections between the trends that happened before 2017 and the ones that are happening now. The fact that XRP could hit $16.00 is a strong sign that something important is about to happen. This could change because of a number of things, such as the chance that Ripple will go public or the fact that they just bought back their own shares, which shows that they are sure of their plan. Personally, I think you should add XRP to your portfolio, especially since quick funding is so important. In the working setting of today, lots of people who own XRP have been very frustrated, and I want to recognize that. I also think the same thing. I do think, though, that the time we've been waiting for is almost over. Finally, the long-awaited run of XRP is about to start. This run could have a huge impact on both its value and its place in the cryptocurrency market. I'd like to talk about the idea that the Securities and Exchange Commission might have been trying to get regular people to avoid buying in XRP because people in better positions in the company told them to. It's crazy that more and more banks are working with Ripple, even though they were being sued not long ago. There is proof of how strong and useful XRP is, that these financial institutions did not back down when they were sued. One thing that makes XRP different from other cryptocurrencies is that it is not a hedge fund. It is one of the few cryptocurrencies that is very clear about how the law treats it. It's possible that XRP, because of this, will be able to get a bigger share of the cryptocurrency market as a whole. And there are scientific signs that show this is possible. Ripple has made a number of predictions and comments that the year 2024 will be very important for both the company and the cryptocurrency XRP. It'll be interesting to see how these things turn out.